Minister, two things. One, the allegation that the cameras are up, particularly in the critical areas in town, but they aren't connected to a power source, they're operational. Care to shed some light on that? And then the second question is, what's going to happen with the holiday? Can you just give us an update on like coverage for the holiday in light of we've already had one Good Friday tragedy in the past? Is there going to be heightened police presence, etc.?
Okay, thanks. Let me give you a bit of a detailed explanation on your first question. I think it's important to say again, as I've said in every public statement that we made about CCTV, that the police are the purchase of the CCTV system. The Ministry of National Security has worked with the police by providing the money for the system. I think everybody's well aware of the constitutional arrangements as far as the police are concerned. As a minister, I'm very clear that I will not step over those boundaries. When we're requested to help and lend assistance, we will do that. This process on the purchase of a new CCTV system started before I became the minister and before the last election. I find it quite surprising and indeed disappointing that a former member of cabinet would make such absurd allegations that he did yesterday in regards to the performance of myself in the ministry. For the simple fact is, members of the former cabinet are well aware of how this process started. They started the process. We finished the process off. So let me give you a little bit of a background. Initially, there were 6 people, 6 companies that bid on CCTV system. It was shortlisted to 3. The police made a recommendation after seeing how it worked in Bermuda and after seeing how it would work overseas on site with the technology up and running and working. At that point, it went to the Office of Management and Procurement. After that, it came to myself and then to Cabinet. The selected vendor was the one that the police suggested, that Office of Management and Procurement suggested, was supported by the ministry and approved by Cabinet. Why? The best price for more cameras and good technology. Simple. The ministry, I will repeat again, the ministry provided the funding and the ministry supported the decision. Let me also say that if there are any issues that arise through the CCTV implementation and if the ministry is called on to help resolve those issues, we will. And over the past 10 days or so, through the great work of the ministry and specifically PS Telemac, we've resolved some issues. Getting to the most recent issue about the cameras not being connected to a power supply, there was an issue between the former CCTV company and the current one, which had to be resolved. Thankfully, that's now been resolved, and I'm pleased to be able to say that perhaps by early this afternoon, all those cameras will be hooked up to power. I do not wish to get into any challenges that either company had, whether it's Get Security or BS Serco. I'm not playing politics with this issue. I take very seriously the public safety concerns about Bermuda, and if other people want to play politics, go somewhere else, because Michael Dunkley's not going to play the game. We're going to get this system up and running, and I'm confident in the system, and I'm confident that the people will be very happy with what they see at the end. Now, as far as extra security...
Before the holiday, I just want to ask you,
sure,
for real purposes.
For real? This is real.
REE purposes.
Okay.
No, seriously, Minister. As a resident in one of those areas, my question to you is then why wasn't it said from the beginning the cameras are up, but they're not operational yet? I mean, it was a delay between April 1. That, it happened, okay, fine. But as a resident, it gave a full sense of security when the cameras were up, I think, last Friday, maybe. And then to learn that they weren't operational, particularly living in an area where there has been previously high shooting incidents. So didn't that give like a full sense of security?
Well, perhaps people could look at it that way. However, I would answer it in a number of ways. I think people have seen tremendous improvements in safety in neighborhoods over recent times. And when anything is installed, you have to flick the switch to turn it on. I have no idea when the switch was going to be flicked on any cameras or when they're going to be turned on, because Minister Michael Dunkley didn't climb any poles. I wasn't responsible for plugging anything in. If they called me, I would have helped out. That's up to the BS Serco to do something like that. And so those questions need to be directed to them. But I would caution that if somebody sees a camera hanging on a pole, not to assume that it's naturally working. Because we haven't come out and say that the system is up and running fully. We haven't come out and say exactly how many cameras are working. I think the police commissioner has been very clear. We gave a statement at the very beginning of April that we were behind schedule, and the commissioner gave another update this week. In spite of the problems with BS Serco, I am very comfortable that we will manage this situation and we will get through it and we'll have a good system. And I'm happy to communicate any information that people want at any time, but they must understand that the police and BS Serco are working through this. We will be called when we need to help with some issues. Good Friday. Yes, unfortunately, as I woke this morning, I thought back about some of the challenges we've had in the recent past. And actually, at 9 o'clock this morning, I had the pleasure to go to Victor Scott for the first great graduation program of P6 and P5s. But as I parked my car on the field, it quickly brought back memories of what happened a couple years ago. And in fact, I had the opportunity to speak to the students, and as we waited for the assembly to start, I was talking to some of the, I think it was P3 or 4s in the front, and I asked this one young gentleman, I said, so what happens tomorrow? He said, it's Good Friday, I'm flying my kite on the field. And you know, that really hit home that we need to make sure our people are safe. And I have every confidence in the Bermuda Police Service. I think we've seen over the past couple of years that the police service have utilized the resources in an effective way, and I don't see any change on that going forward. We're well aware that there are still some people in our community who want to try to disrupt our normal, good, happy life that we all enjoy. And the Bermuda Police Service will do everything they can to support that. And Parks will be out to manage some of the events that are going to be on Horseshoe Bay and things like that. So I think people should be very comfortable that we will be in a good position. And I should also suggest that people should be thankful that while we can enjoy the holiday, there are many people working to make it pleasurable for us.